Okay, so recently I posted a video and somebody made a comment about who should pay. And they were very clear that they felt the man should pay for everything and also should pay for all of the women's beauty care, her nails, her hair, and all of that. So I thought, let's see, what are you all thinking? What is it that you think that should be paid for? And this is both ways. What should the men pay and what should the women pay for? I am Jacqueline, founder and creator of Discover Love Matches. And I work with so many amazing men and so many amazing women, all in different financial situations and different relationship desires. And some people are very much traditional and want that specific type of courtship. Other people want to split everything 50-50. Other people want to trade each date, rotate it. It's very interesting. I mean, it costs a lot of money to date. It is expensive to date for sure, especially if it's not going anywhere. So I would love for you to comment below and let me know what you feel would be the appropriate way for treating. Sometimes you go on a date and you think you're going to really like somebody and you want to treat, and then the date doesn't really go as well as you like, and you really pretty much just want to split the tab. Or maybe it's a situation where the person orders a ton and you're like, yeah, no, I didn't really ask you out for this massive meal when clearly we're not really jiving on a date level. And so there's a fine line there. And then there are people that believe if you know you're not going to go out with the person again, you shouldn't treat, nor should you be treated. And so there's a whole lot of layers to it. Unfortunately, money is a complicated aspect, even in dating, because it gets more complicated later. People do want to be with somebody who is generous, but you can be generous of your time, generous of your affection, generous of your compliments, generous with little gifts. You also don't need to do expensive dates, but there is something to be said when somebody's willing to invest in you on a date. So we have to look at what is that investment? What is that relationship dynamic looking like? So I am curious, do you think that the guy should pay? Do you think the gal should pay? Do you think it should be split? Do you think it should be based on whether or not there's a second date, which is still kind of a weird thing because that's another level of negotiation. We pay for each other's time in different way, and time is very precious. It's the one thing we do not have a renewable resource for. So yes, you can make more money, but you can't get more time. And it's easy also to go on a date with somebody that was supposed to just be a little happy hour, maybe a little dessert outing, and then it turns into like 4 hours because you just keep talking and talking and talking, but not because there's a relationship potential, but because you just kept talking, you were enjoying each other's company as individuals. And so you have to kind of look at where the date level's out. I think it's nice that when somebody says, I want to take you on a date, then they take you on a date. And that is about courtship. That is about treating whomever it is. And then the other way I really recommend is that if you are wanting, you're building some dating momentum, you could have one person pay at one location and then you go to the next location. Maybe you get drinks at one spot and the person asking out has paid for that. And then you go and get some appetizers at another one, and then the other person can be able to pay. And that way you're kind of splitting it up without splitting the tab. I really don't like splitting the tab. To me, that is super unattractive. If you have to split the tab with somebody, pretty much plan that you're not going to go out again with them. They're not going to be interested, and they're going to just be your high five buddy. They're not looking for something more because it became too much like, you know what? I can split the tab with my friends. I can split the tab with just my buddies that I hang out with. So when you're dating, it needs to feel a little bit different. You also, again, with the whole concept you hear me say in the videos about being all in, you need to invest a little bit. There's going to be a cost regardless. So the thing about it is that, like, as this other individual commented on a previous video, it was very clear that the feeling of being taken care of was important. And this is something where you need to step back and go, okay, how do I show that I can take care and I can invest in a relationship? Is it based on the money? Because that gets expensive. Also, if you're really genuinely looking for a relationship, you might be going out on a few dates with a few different people initially just to find who you want to go out on multiple dates with. Some people people date one person at a time, which I highly encourage. But at the same time, sometimes a dating situation, you like them, you're interested, but it's not really getting any momentum, but yet you don't want to give up. So you might meet a couple other people in between while you're still trying to figure out who should get your focus. And this is a tricky part because it can get really, really expensive when you are the one who's always responsible for paying for all of it. So this is why I think inexpensive dates are really great. Go get the ice cream, go take a walk, enjoy a hike, go get some dessert somewhere, go get a coffee, get together. I don't like a coffee date where you're in the buzzing loud restaurant, and all these people just coming in and out, the machines are going like crazy. That's not very romantic, but you can go find a quaint little boutique type of coffee shop and have a nice little conversation, keep it inexpensive. But you also want to be clear because there's nothing tackier than showing up to a date and your date has already gotten their own coffee and then sends you to the counter. And this is where people refer to it as an interview date, where it's not really a date. We're just kind of see if we actually like each other enough to want to go out again. Now, the other part that I think is really unattractive in dating, when somebody realizes, oh, the other person is one, going to pay for everything. So I'll keep going out because I know I'm being treated. Or two, they know the other person's going to split the tab all of the time and they'll keep going out. Where I get that, there comes a point where financial dynamics do come into play, but it is not attractive. It doesn't feel like you're dating. It just feels like you're going out with your buddies. And what often happens in those dating dynamics, it turns into just going out with your buddies. And you have to make that decision. If you are genuinely looking to go out and build a relationship with somebody, then you need to date them like you're in a relationship. Obviously, once you become a partnership, you are going to find out, who pays for what and where those dynamics are. But the money is a lot that dictates in the beginning. If somebody isn't willing to invest in creating a good date, showing up in a good spirit for the date, engage in the dating process, lets the date unfold, and you feel that they're not really engaged in it, then don't keep spending money. But there will be an initial investment, whether it's the cost of parking in the city that you're going to, whether it's the cost of paying for childcare. There's a cost to dating. We've talked about this before, but I am very curious, who do you think should pay and how should that be divided over time? I would love for you to comment at the bottom, like and subscribe to keep the conversation going, and be part of this dialogue because we're all trying to understand. We're in a world where we're all making the money, we're all choosing our life choices, we're at different stages of our life journey. So money shouldn't take such a precedence because most people have their own money. It's more about the fact that they want to be courted or they want to court somebody. That is still legit, even if it's complete old-fashioned. It is genuinely still the way that people want to build the foundation for a new relationship. So let me know, who do you think should pay and how should it be communicated ahead of time? It's kind of nice ahead of time if you know what to expect. When somebody says, I'm treating tonight, it feels nice, but then I know if somebody tells me they're treating, I will buy less items. I will buy less expensive things because I want to appreciate them treating, but I don't want it to become like they're later thinking, oh my gosh, the tab is huge. So there's a level of communication in there. And then there's also some smoothness to it too. It's always nice to be on a date and somebody just takes care of the tab. They take the initiative so that you know that that's what they wanted to do versus that weird thing when the tab sits there on the table and you're wondering who's doing what. You want to kind of know a little bit ahead of time or be clear. Or if you see the tab and you're splitting it, just right away say, oh, great, I'll take care of my half. And you have cash ready to go, make it super smooth so the other person knows what's being expected. It's not good to let that, receipt, ticket, tab, whatever, just sit there waiting, wondering who's paying for what. We'll be adults about it and make it clear. So comment below, let me know. I'm just so curious. What do you think? Do you think the other person should pay for everything? Do you think they should pay for all the things that you do? I had a date once where a guy wanted to pay for me to get my nails done and took me to the salon. And I was more than happy to enjoy that. It was really fun. And we had an adventure day. We had a lot of fun things that happened. And so it was nice, but it wasn't something sustainable. So it was like you could keep doing that for a bunch of dates, but obviously you only need to get your nails done once a month or so. So it wasn't something that, every time we would go out, there was an expectation of the extra. So let me know. I'm just curious, where do you think money plays in the initial dating stages? All right, comment below.